For any farmer or gardener, you know the importance of cultivating soil. You know the importance of hard work, of all the sweat, of all the patience that is needed in order for you to work that soil. It takes a lot of commitment, it takes a lot of effort for one to be a farmer. Because you know that sometimes some things are beyond your control. Some things like weather. No one is in control of the weather, and no one is in control of some things such as a disease or some kind of illness or some kind of bug that will come through and destroy your crop in a matter of time. But the difference here with a farmer and a gardener is that they never give up. They never give up because they know their season is just around the corner. So even though their crop, even though their gardening may be destroyed this year, they're going to continue to sow anyways. They're going to continue to plant anyways because they know that eventually they will reap a harvest. In the Gospel of Matthew, he tells a parable, and he tells a parable of a sower who scatters seed. And as Jesus tells it, some fell on a main path, others fell on rocky ground, others among thorns, and yet some fell on good soil. The seed that fell on good soil, it produced an abundance and it produced a great harvest. While the other three, they struggled and eventually they withered away and died. Each one of these soil that Jesus talks about represents a different condition of our hearts, highlighting how people receive and respond to the message of God's kingdom. The first seed that fell on the path where the ground was hard, where the ground was compacted, birds swooped down in no time and ate it up because it did not have time to take root. The second seed that Jesus talked about were the ones that fell on the rocky ground. It had a thin layer of soil. It was too shallow, so therefore they sprang up quickly, but because it did not have time to take root, when the sun came up, and especially here in Texas, well, it got scorched and it died. And the third seed that Jesus talked about were the ones that fell on thorny grounds, which grew but choked, and it never had an opportunity to grow up and mature. And finally, Jesus talked about the fourth type of soil, the good soil, the one that produced an abundant harvest. The disciples came to Jesus and asked, is there a reason why you're talking to the crowd in parables? Why not just speak to them as you would normally speak to us? He tells them they don't have the same understanding as you do. They don't have the same comprehension that you do. They might be able to see, but they cannot see what I see. They don't have the vision that I have. They may have ears to hear, but they don't listen. They don't hear what needs to be heard. They might have a mind to understand, but they cannot comprehend what I'm trying to explain to them. And Jesus tells the disciples These are the people that the prophet Isaiah was talking about when the prophet Isaiah said, they do not understand. They listened, but they don't comprehend. They look, but they don't perceive. Their hearts has grown dull, and their ears are hard to hear, and they shut their eyes to what needs to be seen. Jesus' parable speaks directly to our lives today, because each type of soil represents the different aspects of our hearts and of our lives.